Hi and welcome back to Paddlemetrics. My name is Yanis and I'm super excited because today we're breaking down the Rulo. Rulo is one of my favorite shots recently. I have been using it with a lot of success at the amateur sort of intermediate level. We're talking about Playtomic around 4 to 4.5 and it has been working really well. Now, a lot of people don't use it at the amateur level and they don't use it, especially around that 3 to 4 level in Playtomic. You don't see a lot of Rulo. And the reason is I think it's literally people haven't tried it out and they haven't realized that it's actually not that difficult of a shot, especially if you're coming from tennis. It reminds you a lot of a second serve and it can create a lot of variability in your game for a couple of reasons, but we're going to touch base on that just in a minute. We are going to be using one of the most elite software out there in terms of analysis, which is Dartfish. If you want to use Dartfish, make sure you put Paddlemetrics to get 10% discount. Let's jump straight into the video. Today we're analyzing the Rulo. But as you're going to be starting using the Rulo, one of the most important things, and literally it's the most important thing that has to work in order for you to get a good Rulo, is subscribing to the channel. That is the one method that really, really works. Especially if you like and comment, my God, your Rulo is going to fly. Okay, so here we are on Dartfish. What I've done is opened a new montage, and you can click new montage, and we're going to be analyzing the Rulo. First of all, we want to see what is the Rulo? Why are we doing a Rulo? What does it create? Why is it the most underrated shot like we talked about? And why are the pro levels are using it to create another dynamic into our paddle games? First of all, what you'll notice, and we pointed that out in the beginning, talking about a second serve. You'll see when I'm setting up for the Rulo, I am preparing the ball to hit the ball high and behind me. You can see that already this shot looks like I'm about to hit a second serve if I was tossing the ball. But as you can see, the contact point is behind or slightly behind my head. We're missing a frame there, so you won't be able to see that, but I'm hitting the ball just behind. You can hit it a bit more in front of you after the shot, but the most important thing is bringing the racket really high up and that tucking the elbow in and getting the racket just behind your shoulder blade so you can get, one, the angle control, and two, to soften the shot up. You don't want to be tense on this shot. You want to be having a loose wrist in order to create the top spin required and not tensing up, because that's going to make the shot really flat. So the other thing, we talked about the contact point. The other thing we need to focus on is the positioning. When do we do a Rulo? Now, a Rulo needs an angle. We're looking for the angle so we can do a great shot down this angle here, which is going to create quite a difficulty because the unpredictability of the side wall with the net, with the metal net, that's going to create the ball to be quite unstable. Sometimes we'll get a weird bounce and everyone always anticipates what is that bounce going to be. That's why a lot of the times the Rulo is a winning point, because sometimes you get a weird bounce that you can't be defended by the opposition. So as we are moving to the left side of the court, this is what we're going to call Rulo. It's Rulo time because we have all the angle. The ball is arriving from us from a really nice angle from the other side, and we have all the time in the world for us to create a shot that's going to be quite difficult for the opposition. Normally the Rulo will be a lob. It will always be a lob, and we're going to be trying to create that angle as much as possible. Now, you can play a Rulo even if the ball is coming any in these areas here. However, the more angle you create, it's going to be easier for us to get that short Rulo into the metal fence, which is going to be a lot harder to defend. As we are coming closer and closer to this side, then we can use the Rulo to play down the back glass And that is still a very good shot because we are regaining the net because the defense has to go back to defend that shot. And we're talking about a shot that's going to hit the glass and come back. And it's an unusual shot, especially at these levels, at the intermediate levels. You don't find this shot quite often. So it's a very nice shot that you can use in your variability. Now, let's talk about the defense first before we go jump on further onto the Rulo. As a defender, when someone is hitting a Rulo, or if someone is not hitting a Rulo, what do you have to defend? You have to make sure, and if we look at the preparation here, let's say I'm preparing, and obviously that looks like I could be smashing the ball, right? I might be going for a kick smash, which would look something like that, hitting the ball from high, bouncing it off the glass, and off it goes out into the abyss. That's one option. The other option is that I'm actually doing a vibra. So the vibra will be low, down to the corner, it would hit the glass and come back. A third option might be that I'm doing a fake smash. And a fake smash would be something like I'll be aiming to fake smash the ball into the middle because I have seen the opposition pushing forward to recover for the smash. As we discussed, there's the defense of the fake smash, there's the defense of the vibra, there's the defense of the actual smash if they have to run to the net, and the defense of the outside kick smash. So we look at 4 actually options, and now we're adding another one. What is that? We're going to be talking about the Rulo. The Rulo will bring a different dynamic because every time you're in this angle, the defense will have to question you. What are the options you're going to do? And you're adding one more options with a quality Rulo. Now, and the Rulo is quite scary because if it hits that fence, it's very hard to defend. So the defender would have to decide which of these areas am I going to be prioritizing. And the key is not to do a Rulo every single shot because then the defender will be placing themselves in an area where they can defend the Rulo. And that might be something like in this zone here. After a few opportunities, then they might be getting used to it and defend your Rulo. But if we did a kick smash, if we did a hard smash, if we did a fake smash, if we did a Rulo, trust me, you're going to be escaping that 3 to 4 level of Playtomic just by creating that variability. Now, what about the follow through? So we talked about the preparation. The racket needs to be far back. Let's do a clone here so we can see a little bit better of what we're analyzing. And you can do that very easily in Dartfish by bringing up the clone. And what we're going to see here is at the preparation, the racket is coming from way far back below our scapula. And the focus is going to be to hit the ball behind us, create a little bit of topspin, and in the kick smash, we normally finish with the racket finishing close so we can create that topspin that is going to allow the ball to have a lot of topspin so it can bounce out of the court. In the Rulo, we're going to be looking at a little bit more of an open, not closed, all across our body, just so we can create the soft topspin that we're looking for the Rulo to go onto the fence, the metal fence on the side of the wall. And you see there that bounce, soon as it hits that corner of that metal and the ball is coming down, that is a very difficult shot to defend. And that, my friends, is the Rulo. And I would definitely recommend you bringing it into your game. Now, if it's intimidating, start thinking about doing a second serve just from an angle. You'll see, as soon as you get that feel, you'll be much more in a position to utilize the Rulo. Now, I really hope that was useful. I use the Rulo, and I'm going to show you a couple of clips now in a game where I have been using it with a lot of success. And it has been a game changer just because you're making that opposition think twice about what you're going to be doing, especially on the left side. You need to create fear in the opposition. And fear is unpredictability. Soon as they start knowing what you're going to be doing, then they could have a plan for you in a match or in a tournament. But as you are showing that you are starting to have a skill set that you can vary shots and do different things, that's when it starts getting a little bit difficult because they can't find a pattern on how to deal with your offense. And that, my friends, was a quick analysis using Dartfish at the highest level, the Rulo.